What is up guys, how you doing? If you haven't seen the previous video, which is of the S20 line, go check that out now, the link's just here. Other than that, I was lucky enough to be invited by Samsung to their KX store to try out the new Z Flip, and it looked incredible. So here is some hands-on, and here is me telling you how I felt about the device. Unfortunately, I tried to record some video at Samsung KX, but the audio sounded a bit like this. And therefore, you're going to have to settle for some B-roll and me talking to camera. But trust me, it's worth it, because the phone was unreal. Before we get into the obvious display, let's talk regular specs. It comes with a Snapdragon 855 Plus, which is important because it's a flagship chip, but is technically a couple of months out of date. However, it's still crazy performant, and more importantly, it's 4G instead of 5G. Like, it's fine and it'll do, but it's a bit of a shame. What is nice though is that it comes with 8GB of memory, and the display, which is 1080 by 2636. What? Why Samsung? It's a 21.9 by 9 display, which means that if you're watching a cinema video, the hole punch bit is just blacked out, which is great because it makes for really easy watching of 21 by 9 video. But how often are you watching movies on your phone? It even has a second display. It's 112 by 300. It's this teeny tiny 1.1 inch display on the front that's basically for notifications and to use as a viewfinder. That was the weirdest use case, but it kind of makes sense. The screen's a little small and the aspect ratio of the screen means that you don't quite realise what you're capturing, but it works. Along with the 8GB of RAM, you also get 256GB of storage, which is generous. It's more than enough for most people. In fact, I kind of wanted to compare this phone to the Motorola Razr, but it feels a bit harsh, honestly. They're basically the same price, but the Razr is worse in literally every single way, including battery, where the C Flip has 3,300 mAh of battery between the two cells between each half. Oh, and the hinge? Of course we're going to talk about the hinge. Having gotten to mess around with it, it is crazy smooth. The Samsung Galaxy Fold had this hinge that was relatively smooth but clicked into place when you opened it all the way. The Z Flip is just smooth all the way. It is an incredible hinge. It's smooth, and if you really pay attention, on one of my openings I could just about make out the sound of a Brussels, like as you open and close it, but you have to really be focusing. And when you unfold the device, oh my, what a screen that is. Sure, it's 1080p, which puts it basically in line with any phone, but more importantly than that, it's covered in glass, and it's crazy how much of a difference this makes. When I initially tried the Galaxy Fold, I felt a little cautious every time I opened it, and every time I closed it I was worried I was going to accidentally press on it too hard and damage a pixel or something. But the Z Flip with its glass covered display is just incredible. You have zero concerns about opening and closing it, and the build quality as a whole is just incredible. In fact, the £1,300 price tag makes it cheaper than a fully maxed out S20 Ultra, which is really cool. On top of that, the hinge itself is practically invisible. It's hidden in each half. Like when you open it, you can't tell it's there at all from the back, apart from the crease line that obviously separates the two halves. And the black version I got to mess around with, though it's a fingerprint magnet, also accidentally doubles as a mirror, so that's a thing. I did get to try the Tom Brown version, but I'm not allowed to talk about that because they didn't mean to give it to me. It was really nice though. Size-wise, unfolded it's practically the size of my Note 10, but a bit narrower, and when you fold it, it's tinsy. It's actually really cool. I've said on multiple occasions that we're not going to live in a world where it's either the Fold or the Flip, where one is a phone that folds out into a tablet and one is like a small phone that folds out into a regular phone. I very much see us living in a world where they live side by side, and depending on the kind of person you are, you'll get one or the other. For me personally, this makes me super excited for a Fold 2, because with that same ultra thin glass, it opens the opportunity for an S Pen, and having spoken to Samsung staff, every single one of them said that people's first reaction to seeing how awesome the Fold display is, oh cool, can I use an S Pen with this? The two 12-megapixel cameras, one regular and one ultra-wide on the back, are fine. They're decent, but they're not as amazing as the S20 line, and that's okay, because you're not buying this phone for the cameras. You're not buying it for any of the specs really, especially the Tom Brown version, was very clearly marketed to a very specific kind of person. It is a phone that looks incredible, and holding it in my hands felt incredible. It's a device that truly transcends specs. It's designed to compete with the iPhone not from a spec point of view, but from a cool factor point of view, and I'd argue it wins. Between the hole punch display, the fact that it literally folds in half and therefore technically has 2 screens, and the fact it's still cheaper than an iPhone makes it truly incredible. A fully maxed out iPhone 11 Pro Max costs £1,500, whereas the Z Flip costs £1,300, so you're actually saving £200. Now, some may argue that that iPhone has double the storage, so if we half the storage, it turns out that the Z Flip is £1 more expensive, but remember, it has double the screens, and one of them folds in half. Oh, and it also has double the memory. When I talked about the Samsung Galaxy Fold for the first time, I said that it was an incredible device that I wouldn't buy, but if it was gifted to me, I'd very much use. And the Z Flip is pretty similar in sentiment, apart from one thing. If I was looking for a phone right now, and if I did really want a folding phone, and I also wanted one that was that form factor, I'd definitely buy one. Unfortunately, because the unit I was using was a demo unit as opposed to a retail unit, none of the features for the half hinge worked, like the split screen scrolly thing, none of that worked, which is a shame, but I can absolutely understand the appeal of this device. It looks incredible, it feels incredible, and it was amazingly sturdy. Oh, and on the subject of a hinge, when it's folded, there is a gap, but it is tiny. It is significantly smaller than one on the Fold, which is truly incredible. And yes, there is a crease, and as Marques Brownlee mentioned, you can definitely feel it a bit more because of the area, but I would argue that within my sort of 2 hours of using the device, I'd almost immediately forgotten it was there, much like I did with the Galaxy Fold, so I don't expect it to be too much of a problem, especially when you have a phone that folds in half. So there it is. That was my opinion of the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip. Thank you so much to Samsung for having me out at Samsung KX. It was incredible. The device is unreal, and if you want to check out either the Z Flip or any of the new Samsung Galaxy S20 range, you can go to Samsung King's Cross. It's not a shop, you can't buy anything there, but you can go and experience all of the new devices. It is truly incredible. Just go and do it. It is really cool. If you liked this video, make sure to hit like. If you didn't, I'm not quite sure what you're doing here. Do go check out, as I said previously, the video on the S20 series if you haven't already. Subscribe for more videos like this one, and I'll see you guys next time.